So, our next topic that we had for business perspectives is big data and the changing world. We had a guest professor lead the discussion, and his name was Te-Wei Wang. He seemed to be very knowledgeable in understanding big data and being able to explain it to us, which was very helpful because I personally did not know a lot about big data. I thought I kind of understood what it meant, but I have definitely learned a lot from the discussions that we had in class. We started out with several different V words to describe big data and the changing world. There was volume, value, veracity, visualization, variety, velocity, and virality. I may have read my notes wrong because I was writing fast, but a lot of those had to apply to how businesses can use big data and how important it is to have data to use. So what can you do in the future when your job is taken over by a machine? This is where big data comes in, being able to customize machines and have them work for you instead of against you. He also discussed what data is used for. You can use it for decision making, which is super helpful because you can see what works properly, what doesn't, and possibly what changes you can make that would better suit your company. You can use it for prediction, using like in the Excel sheets, using the what if function in Excel to help you better understand what outcomes you might have from the data that you've gathered. You can use it for evaluation, assessment, and intelligence. That way you can know exactly what part of your process is working best and focus on what is not. You don't want one hitch in the road to discourage your process from being the best that it can be. Data can be used for entertainment, which was kind of interesting to me, but the way that he explained it was they create new movies by what was most viewed and what the consumers would like to see. So gathering that data results in new movies, new music. All of the entertainment that we see today is based off of data that they've gathered from what consumers like to view. You can use it for problem solving, which most people assume is the most important part of big data and like the only part of big data, but problem solving is very much so the foundation of what data was gathered for. You can use it for basically anything you set your mind to, whether it be trying to figure out classes or figure out what kind of coffee you like at Starbucks because you've bought the same one over and over again versus these other two that you might have tried. That's just something that I would use data for. So Edward Deming had a cycle called, it wasn't, I don't think it really had a title to it, but it had do, check, act, plan, and then do again. So it was in a constant cycle where it would start over again. And once you do something, you check to see how it worked, and you act upon what worked and what didn't work, and then you plan to put that into process, and then you do it again. So that's kind of important if you're just starting out, even when you've been established, to keep that cycle in process, to continuously have improvements and use your data wisely. And it can also lead to re-engineering that you may not have considered before. We talked about problem solving as well, identifying and defining the problem, analyzing the problem, then identify possible solutions, select a plan and plan solution, and then implement the solution and then evaluate it. So you can start with your problem, see what you need to improve, analyze it to get to the root of the problem. So you can have a problem and then you might have an underlying factor like underlying factor that maybe it's not the big problem. There's something little that is affecting the big problem that's causing everything to just go awry. And then you can identify possible solutions and figure out which one works best for you and to fix your problem. You select and plan the solution. You don't want to just go for it. You want to have a process on creating the best solution that you can to fix your problem. Then implementation is key once you've decided on a solution. Then evaluate how you've applied your solution to the problem. Did it work? Did it not work? Could have worked better. So that's basically problem solving in a nutshell. There's also the data science process that we discussed. You frame the problem, you collect raw data, so you extract from what you've already got, you process the data and clean it up, make it easy to understand. You explore the data, see what patterns exist, and then perform in-depth analysis. So you refine the data into something that you want to know more about. And then you communicate the results and tell a story. So all data can tell a story on how things are happening in the world, or even within your own business to the most minuscule item. A lot of people think that big data will run us out of jobs and machines will take over. So how do people cope with that? How do people cope with big data? We can use tools to make big data work for us. Better processing power, larger storage capacity to be able to control all the data that we wish to obtain, faster communication speeds, and use machine to replace human labor when necessary. So, or when available. You can put human labor into different aspects of your business and have a machine make things more efficient for you. And automation also helps to make the machines work autonomous. So it doesn't rely on someone constantly setting it to work. So this can lead to re-engineering and it will fix bottlenecks using technology. You want to re-engineer the slowest portion of your chain of your process. So you might have a good chain, but if there's a problem within the very beginning, then nothing's going to get out. If you have a problem in the middle, you're going to have a backup and nothing will get out. If you have a problem at the end, you have so much product getting to the end, but it's not being efficient enough to get out and move along with the process. It's all about efficiency. So you need to re-engineer to be the most efficient that you can by fixing the bottlenecks. And big data can allow you to understand where those bottlenecks are occurring in your process. So there are a few things that humans can do that machines can't, that will battle the machines are taking over thought process. Judgment is one. Human judgment isn't been replicated in machines just yet. Creativity is another one. You might think that some things can be creatively made, but there's always something new that you can't have a machine come up with. Interactions are being developed, but it's not the same as reading facial expressions and understanding empathy, making exceptions for certain things, making hard, fast rules more flexible. Machines don't really have that sense of judgment for making exceptions. They do have predictability judgment, but not the gut lying judgment. They might be able to tell you the future, but some things are just up in the air. You never know when the next earthquake's going to occur or when the economy is just going to drop, because humans are unpredictable. Um, so there's a bunch of different things that lie within big data that may not have occurred to you, because they sure didn't occur to me until this class. But it was really interesting to learn about from Te-Wei Wang, and I appreciate him coming into class that day. Thanks.